Hello and a very warm welcome to this week's episode of Out and About in the UK. Coming up on today's show, we'll be meeting up with artist and Sligo native Conor Gallagher, who recently exhibited his work at the London Irish Centre in Camden. And we caught up with singer-songwriter Tara McDonald to find out more about her career and her love of her Irish ancestry. But first, the term Brexit is used to describe the debate on whether Britain should stay as a member of the EU. It's very much a hot topic at the moment, and we've come along here to the House of Parliament for a talk on that very subject. We're here as guests of Dr. Alistair MacDonald MP and the London Irish Construction Network.
TLICN started roughly around 2009. We used to meet a couple of guys on the plane, usually on a Friday evening and stuff like that. Kept bumping into the same old faces, and we kind of brought together, we used to meet on a Wednesday after that, bring a few clients, introduce them around. That later developed, and I suppose TLICN proper then was formed, where we had an organisation, proper place to go, a structure, and it's grown, I suppose, since then.
And tonight's event, it's about building relationships. The TLICN, they're very much doing that here in the community, in the construction sector. How important are organisations like that?
Look, my father worked over here in the 50s until 1980. I think that he would have been much better off by having groups like this or confederations like this that work together, a network that highlight all that's good about Ireland, all about good about the construction industry in England, but also network. And I think tonight, the House of Commons, it's a great statement that the Irish people and people of the Irish diaspora, that they're united and they're working very closely with one another in the UK for effectively affecting bettering lives all over the islands of Ireland and the United Kingdom.
And these are the people who are building London and continuing to build London and playing key roles in the whole construction network. And I'm very pleased. I have 40 people here with construction interests from Northern Ireland, and really they're engaging and connecting, and there's business being done. I know of a number of deals, maybe not contracts, but a number of deals have been made here already.
Jerry, you're a company by the name of TradeKit. You're an electrical supplier and you're based in County Kerry, is that right?
County Kerry, in Killarney and in North London.
Tell us about what it's like to do business between London and Ireland.
At the moment it's quite easy. We've got very easy regulation between the two, so importing goods from Ireland is quite simple. Sending stuff from here over to Ireland as well. We've sent goods both ways. And travel back and forth for myself is very easy, so it's very doable.
Yeah, it's great to be here in the London Irish Construction Network. From our point of view, we're delighted to be here. A wonderful gathering in the capital city, a city that's so much to offer with all business opportunities. And the friendship that we've already witnessed tonight has been just absolutely superb. We're privileged to be here.
John, you've come from Armagh for tonight's event. Your thoughts?
That's correct. Well, it's a great opportunity to actually network in the first instance, but it's also a great opportunity to meet other companies that's in the same field and even in different field from ourselves. It's quite parochial back home. Over here, it's a massive opportunity to integrate, to network with other companies and to grow the business.
Tonight, we're using the theme of Britain and Europe and the discussion around the potential for a British exit from Europe, which I feel, and a lot of people feel, and I hope the majority of people feel, would be a mistake. It would damage Britain, it would damage the financial centre in London, where a lot of the banks and others would move to Frankfurt or Paris. But it would also damage the trade between Ireland and Britain. There would be trade barriers to trade. But worst of all, from my perspective, it would ruin Northern Ireland, because we're heavily dependent on Europe, not just for financial backup, but also for some of the structures underpinning the Good Friday Agreement and the peace settlement that we have.
To be honest, the last few weeks I've been undecided, because you see a lot of the political negativity coming through. I think we're probably stronger together, but tonight I'd be very interested to see what the arguments are. I'm here to be convinced. I think we're better off in, but I think a lot of English people would prefer to say, right, I've had enough. There's just too much pressure on the NHS, everywhere really.
And how would you see the question of Brexit? Is it something that you'd be in favour of, or do you think it's critical that Britain stays in the Eurozone for the better of Irish business?
I'm not so sure if it makes that much of a difference. I mean, it's already different currencies, so that wouldn't change. An EU I suppose treaties would be replaced by bilateral treaties. So as both the UK and Ireland are probably very big trading partners at the moment, I'm not sure that would really change. At the moment, apparently, the Leave campaign is stronger, but that could probably change as well as if they get more concessions from Europe. So I think it's all to play for, so it's a bit early to call it yet.
Many thanks there to Dr. Tara McDonald and indeed the London Irish Construction Network for inviting us along here to their event tonight. Sligo native and artist Conor Gallagher recently exhibited his work at the London Irish Centre in Camden, and we popped along to find out more and take a look at his work. Conor, we're here at the London Irish Centre here in Camden. You've been exhibiting your work here for the last few weeks. Tell us a bit about your life. You're originally from County Sligo.
I am. I'm from Sligo town, which is an amazing place to grow up. The scenery is breathtaking, the lakes, the mountains. I think someone described that anyone who lives in the west of Ireland surely becomes an artist, and maybe we all are, but some of us choose to demonstrate that in paint, others through music, through words, through stories, whatever. I was very lucky to grow up there, and I always wanted to paint, and I guess the last 5 or 6 years I decided I'm going to give this a go.
So having been brought up in County Sligo, when did you finally realise that art was a big part of your life?
Well, I started off in commercial art as a graphic designer. I studied in College of Commerce, Art Mines, advertising, and slowly but surely I've been veering towards graphic design and then to commercial art and then to painting, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and with a lot of encouragement and a lot of people backing you saying this is for real, go for it, I decided to take it on seriously. I started off doing night courses in NCAD 2008, 2009, and that was the spur to keep going.
Conor, we've taken a little trip down to the gallery here at the London Irish Centre. This work behind us, it's one of your favourites here today.
It certainly is. It's called Lochgill Trees, and there's a couple of reasons why it's a favourite. I was in New York a couple of years ago, and I saw an amazing painting by Caro called The Lake. It was in the Frick collection, and it was such a beautiful painting. But well, I kind of analysed it afterwards, and very simple. He had 5 trees in it, beautiful reflection in the water. He had some people, some animals, but there was something very melancholy, just fantastic about the use of those 5 trees. So I've been in Lochgill, down the woods beside it.
And for people now that aren't familiar with Lochgill, where is that?
Lochgill is in Sligo, very famous. Lochgill inspired W.B. Yeats. He wrote a lot of his poems from kind of scenic places around the lake.
Tell us about these 3 paintings here behind us, Conor.
These are graphite studies, and I guess I'm always challenging myself when creating paintings and trying new medium, see what works. These were happy experiments. What I did was I poured it onto photo paper, added white spirit, and you start off, the powder disperses on the paper, and with the liquid it becomes fluid. It's becoming like the river or the sea. And then your challenge is to create a landscape from it. And I find that very exciting. So, for example, you have your mountains in the background, your sea, and then your foreground. I guess that's a given, but the challenge is just to play with the palette knife, to play with the material. You dictate it's going to be somewhere in the west of Ireland, inevitably Sligo, I guess, but you don't know what you're going to get, and that's kind of magical.
Tell us about this one.
One January day, it was early January, I really felt like painting, and I went out to Bull Island, which is a favourite place in Dublin. It's really magical. It's most diverse flora and fauna in the country, And it started off as a tiny island, and over 200 years has, because of the North Wall, has become 2-3 miles long and continues to grow every year. But I love the looking at the channels when the water is coming in with the low tide. It fills up, and low tide is an especially interesting part of the day for me. The reflection in the water, the lovely light just happens all along where you're viewing, and in this painting I wanted to capture that.
Conor, tell us about these sketchbooks.
These are sketchbooks I've had in London, and just things you see during the day. Like, for example, in Brockley Park, people were sunbathing, where a balloon suddenly left this man's hand and shot up into the air, and I wanted to capture that moment.
Finally, Conor, if people want to find out more about your work and maybe purchase a couple of pieces, can they do that online?
Sure, yeah. Well, my website is www.conorgallagher.com, and it kind of shows all the exhibitions I've done over the years, and you should see a kind of theme developing through them. But yeah, if people are interested, I'd love to hear from them.
Great stuff there from Conor. We really had a lovely afternoon meeting him and taking a look at his work. We're going to take a break right now. We'll do come back just for the second half of the show. You're very welcome back to the show. Well, Tara McDonald is an international recording artist and indeed a very successful songwriter in her own right. We met up with Tara to find out more about her career and indeed her love for Irish heritage. Thanks so much for joining us, Tara. A very Irish name. Tell us about your Irish background.
I'm second generation, and my mum and dad chose to call me Tara because they love the meaning behind the name, because it means star, leader, and also, of course, because of the Hill of Tara. So I'm kind of named after the Hill of Tara.
Wonderful. And your family on your dad's side was County Cavan, and you've quite a well-known uncle there in that area.
Yeah, Phil Bernard McDonald. He's the seventh son of a seventh son, and also like a folk singer. And he played the piano accordion, and he was kind of really legendary. It's him and another friend of his called Pat O'Hara. And when my great uncle died, like even in the New York Post, they posted a poem about him called Round Phil McDonald's Fire, and he's like a legend. He's definitely a legend to me, and it's great to have the opportunity to talk about him.
The happy days gone by, when down the flowery pathway in the merry month of June, the path was bright and soundless, cloudless was the sky. The north of Ireland, it was peaceful in those happy days gone by.
And you would have met him when you were back in Cavan as a child?
Yeah, Monty Cashel. And he's really like one of the first people that really encouraged me to sing. And then what I love with my friends in Ireland is like singing is such a natural part of life, like especially with my great uncle, because he would sing like the history, the songs, the folk songs and stuff, and it was the first time that I'd been exposed to these songs. So yeah, it was just amazing, and he really encouraged me to continue on my path.
So he's probably the as you said, he's the person that encouraged you to get started in music. Yeah. You started quite young in music.
I did. I feel like Ireland's been really lucky for me because I auditioned for Les Miserables, I think, when I was 8, and I was just like a regular schoolgirl, you know. I had no sort of experience. I didn't have like an agent. I wasn't one of these starstruck kind of kids. I just had a really natural love for music. And my parents took me for an audition out of fun, really. And then I went to Ireland, went to the Hill of Tara, saw my uncle, touched the Stone of Destiny, and then when I came back to the UK, I auditioned again for Les Miserables, and I got the job. So at 9 years old, I spent 2 years sort of working in the West End in Les Miserables with Cole Wilkinson, like another amazing Irish singer, and it all kind of started from there, really. And I think it's because I touched the Stone of Destiny.
So the Irish connection and your uncle was a musical family, big family influence.
Yeah, massively. He was like one of the primary kind of main musical influences for me, in the fact that he really used to encourage me to perform. We used to call him a lot and give him updates on what I was doing. So I did like my first TV performance when I was 12 in England, and I ended up winning like a children's Eurovision contest. I represented the UK in that, and I won it, and it was hosted by Audrey Hepburn, and it was in Holland. And for that, my grandmother had recently passed, and I have her brooch. So it's
That's your good luck charm.
It's my good luck charm. This is a Tara brooch. It's like, you know, it's really representative of my family, and I wore this during my competition, and it's really lucky for me. Like, it's always in my handbag if I'm not wearing it.
You carry it on tour all the time?
Everywhere. It goes everywhere with me. Yeah, it is definitely a good luck charm.
And I believe over the years, you know, you've worked with some very big names and some big actors. Jude Law is one of them.
Yes, that's right. I was actually in Scotland. I was in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and I did a production with Jude Law for a month. And I think I was 12 at the time as well. And he was absolutely gorgeous. Like all the other girls in the theatre, everyone had a crush on Jude Law. So nothing's changed there.
And you know, your career moved on. Then you've worked with people like Armand Van Helden, David Guetta, some huge names.
Yeah, it was weird because I, like starting out, I was doing musical theatre, but it was the only opportunity really that presented itself to me. And then I got much more interested in writing music. And then of course, as a teenager, going out to clubs, it was like this massive, wonderful world of fashion and nightlife. And I was a real like clubber kid. And I used to make up songs over the instrumental tracks, and I didn't realise that could kind of be a job. But then I got sent eventually some backing tracks for club instrumentals, and the first one I wrote to was for Axwell, and it became like a big hit in the UK. And then after that, I was approached by Armand Van Helden to sing My My My. And then
which is my favourite dance song.
I'm so happy it's your favourite. I was really lucky to get that because it has become a real clubbing anthem.
Was that song a big springboard in your career?
Definitely, because after that, then I was approached by David Guetta, and he sent me some tracks to write to, and I love that because you get sent an instrumental, and then you go into the studio, you vibe on the track, you create a story, a title, you cut up the track and make a radio edit, you send it back to the producer, and then you just hope that they like it. And I did 3 tracks with him. The first one was a really big single in Europe. It wasn't released in the UK, and my mum was so sad because it was the first track that I'd been a part of where I was also in the video, and she couldn't brag to her friends because no one knew it.
Tara, you've worked with some very big names over the years in a backing vocal capacity. Tell us about that.
Well, I was so lucky it was kind of like cutting my teeth really and learning how to use the studio and stuff, but on other people's projects. So I worked with Brian Ferry, and that was amazing. I did the Dylan-esque album with him and got to arrange all the vocal parts and stuff. So that was really nice, and I loved working with Brian. Someone gave me a lot of confidence. I've done a lot of charity events as well. So I used to back and sing with Eric Clapton, Gary Brooker from Procol Harum.
Did you sing with Tony Bennett at one time?
Yeah, I've when I used to work on Strictly Come Dancing, so I was one of the there's 4 singers in that and the orchestra. So that was like my day job for 3 years, and the reason I left, I absolutely loved that job. They are amazing, the whole orchestra, the whole team, and it was probably the most stressful job I ever had, because we never had a rehearsal until the live day. So when you're doing your rehearsal with the orchestra, it's also the celebrities are there doing their technical run through as well. So it's lights, camera, action, everything. There's nowhere to hide if you make a mistake. But I absolutely loved that, and Tony Bennett was one of the stars that came on, and yeah.
What went through your mind when you actually met him?
He gave me a kiss. He was very sweet, really humble. Yeah.
He's like a major person in the music business.
He's like a jazz hero, isn't he? And it was just super nice, super respectful. The same like Brian Ferry, the same, someone, or Roger Waters. He's another like legend to me, because I love rock music, and working with some of your heroes, backing vocals. Me and my friend Tracy, she's another singer, and when we worked with Eric Clapton, we were so excited. It was the hand jive, do that crazy hand jive. Me and her, we were pinching each other's legs, where we just couldn't believe that we were singing one of our favourite songs with Eric Clapton. It's like, crazy.
If you're gonna save the day, and you're hearing what I say, I feel your touch, your kiss is not enough. And if you believe in me.
So your own solo career, it's going really well at the moment. You've number 8 in the dance charts in Europe right now.
Well, this is actually a cover song. It's a big dance anthem, and for me it's been one of my favourite clubbing records. It's probably one of my favourite clubbing records of all time. It's called I Need a Miracle, and I wanted to make a new version of this. I think it's a really kind of fun, easy kind of summer vibe record, and it's in sort of a tropical house style. And it's just a song that I love, and the idea behind it for me is there's so much tension between race and religion at the moment, and one of the lyrics in the song says, I won't take nothing less than a deeper love. And that for me is the real message of the song. It's about bringing communities, religion, everybody back together, because there's too much segregation right now, So this is a reminder. That's what I want to represent in the video.
And if people want to download the track or hear the track, how can they do that?
Well, at the moment you can stream it. It's on Deezer, it's on Spotify. I have also teasers of all of the remixes. They're going to be available, I think, next week on Beatport. But if people want to hear, I've got an amazing remix package. Okay, it's so good. You will like it, I know. Just go to my SoundCloud. That's under Tara McDonald, and I'm shortly going to be signing my project all over the world. So watch this space.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, it really was great to meet Tara and to find out more about her career, and we'd like to thank her for taking the time out to speak to us. If you'd like to contact the show, send an email to ian@irishtv.ie, and you can also find us on Facebook and on Twitter. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have right now, but do come back to us next week when we'll be out and about in the UK.